my friends, welcome to this chess video. And I have a very recent game. It was only played, well, it's being played at the moment in a tournament, the Gibraltar Masters. And with white pieces, a very talented young lady from Iran called Sarasadat Khademalsharieh. Now we're just going to call her Sara Khadem for short. And with the black pieces is Alexander Donchenko, the very talented grandmaster from Russia. There's a fair rating difference here. I mean, Sara's maybe 240 and Alexander's in the 260, 2600 range. It's a very beautiful positional game. Let's check it out. Sara begins with the queen pawn, knight f6, c4 and e6, and here she avoids the Nimzo with knight to f3, and immediately Alexander strikes in the centre with c5, d5 and d6, and we have a Benoni type structure. Knight f3 takes and takes, and you can see here that Alexander has very nice control over the dark squares for the weakness here on d6. And he's going to accentuate this with the dark square bishop coming here. So-called dragon style bishop. Knight d2, knight bd7 and e4. Now let's just check out the pawns here just for a moment. Some plans and ideas. If you look at this with me, this is the bare bones structure of the pawns as the position is at present. You can see there's a half open E file here for black and a half open C file here for white. Black has a queenside pawn majority. Could maybe advance and create a passed pawn. And white has ideas like f4 and e5, creating a passed pawn of her own, and some weakness, especially here on d6. There's very nice squares here in the centre for the black pieces, and white of course has this very nice square c4 for something like a knight. So let's check it out and see what actually happened. Bishop came to g7, bishop e2, we had castles and castles. And immediately Alexander puts his rook on the half open e file. And here Sara played a very nice move, a4. What is the purpose of this? Well, it not only curtails the advance of these queenside pawns, but it protects the c4 square here for her knight, because the square can no longer be attacked. It's a very, very nice positional move. The knight occupied the centre, one of these beautiful squares in the centre. Queen c2, e6. There will be no b5 square for white. I mean, it's a beautiful square, but well, Alexander's contesting the b5 square. Rook a3, bishop g4. And here Sara, she went in for exchanging the bishop. I mean, our pawns are in light squares and there's not much scope for the bishop, so why not? She then kicks the knight back. And this was her idea here, a5, fixing the weakness here and providing an avenue for the knight to come in here to b6. Beautiful outpost square. She was denied b5, but she engineered b6 instead. Very, very nice positional concept. With queen e7, knight a4. She now has these two very nice squares on the queen side for her pieces. And the knight went back to protect b6. And here we have some cat and mouse. And Sara is essentially saying, look, you're a strong grandmaster. If I'm prepared to take a draw. Well, if Alexander repeats it one more time, it will be a draw, but he went in for rook c8 instead, avoiding 3-move repetition. And the steed came to c4, beautiful square, eyeing this and eyeing the weakness here. Knight came back to e5, and the knight jumped into b6. Rook c7, and bishop g5. The bishop was kicked, and Sara went back to h4. Maybe she's trying to provoke some weakness here, because there is no light square. Bishop on the board and all these squares here would become kind of weak. But here Alexander plays very interesting move. He is essentially a pawn sacrifice. And he played c4. Now this pawn will be very difficult to defend. And the idea is to get the c5 square for the knight. Because at present he has no squares other than these two in the centre. He already occupies e5. But there is no real way here to get to this beautiful square d4. He wants to try and secure c5 for himself. Immediately Sara attacks this pawn, realizing it's difficult to defend. Knight d7, takes. And Alexander doubles up. It's not really a threat because, the knight's defended anyhow. And the knight went back to b6. With exchange of knights on b6. And the rook came to c5 square. Here Sara begins this idea we looked at when we looked at the bare bones of the pawn structure. f4 and e5. Rook e8 locking down on this weakness here. But it's not fast enough. e5 comes, forcing black to take in the centre. This knight is pinned and hit. Now, I suspect that Sara saw all of this because there is now a very beautiful tactic that she's able to exploit. If you'd like to pause the video for yourself and try and see what it is, please do so now. But we'll continue anyhow. You can see that the knight is attacked twice. And it's defended twice at the moment. But there's also an undefended rook here. And Sara took advantage of this because she chopped this knight. The bishop's got to recapture. The queen came to f2, hitting the rook and hitting the bishop, which is only defended once now. Alexander tries to save the bishop, knowing that if Sara takes this rook, well, the bishop will come in here, skewering the queen to the king. But she has this intermezzo, very nice, rook to e4. Very bravely, Alexander tries to to interpose the bishop anyhow, but Sara simply chops it. And there was no real way to save it. We have rook takes on c3 and the queen simply drops back. There's a threat here, threat to take the rook, and even if black takes this bishop here, she'll get her material back. And the black king is looking very exposed. So we had queen takes on e4, queen takes on f7. King is forced to move, and only now does she recapture on c3. This pawn is super dangerous and it cannot be captured because the rook will fall. So we have rook e7. But this doesn't help back. Essentially, black's game is lost here. These pawns are too strong. The king's position is too weak. Queen to f8 check, king to h7. And once rooks are off the board, these pawns will roll. Sara advanced her pawn d6. It's getting very critical. Black tries to save the situation with queen to e1, maybe hoping for, well, I doubt, very optimistic, hoping for the king to go here in some kind of perpetual, but I mean, Sara's a world-class player. It's just never going to happen. So we have queen to f1. Queen munched the pawn, and it's the finish here that is so, it's so simple and so beautiful. We have a queen check here, and the king is forced here. She then forces the queen back to the back rank. King goes here. And how would you finish this out yourself? Have a little think about it. Well, here she played, I thought this was beautiful. She played queen to d8 check, knowing that the king must come off the back rank. And as soon as he does, the queen will come here with check. Queens will be forced into an exchange. Pawn will recapture and promote. Very, very pretty ending. It's a very, very nice positional game. I thoroughly enjoyed the subtleties of this game. So, I don't think there's much we need to review other than just some of the plans and ideas that were associated with. I mean, Sara, when she played this move a4, it curtails the development of black's plus here. This queenside pawn majority secures c4 for the knight. I suppose it's the idea of simply negating your opponent's kind of strengths and accentuating your own, and at the same time, if it's possible, to accentuate your own strengths and diminish your own weaknesses. And she did this here when she played this very strategic move f4. Came here. I mean, this is a weakness for her, but she's able to eliminate it and create her own strengths. And then we did this little tactical flurry here. And black is so busted. So essentially, I suppose that's what we can learn, chess friends, from beautiful and subtle games like this to try and curtail our opponent's strengths and accentuate our own strengths, and if possible, get rid of our weaknesses and turn them into strengths. So I hope you enjoyed this, my chess friends. It was certainly a pleasure to relate it to you, and as ever, I wish you well with your own chess. Take care and goodbye.
Childhood living is easy to do. The things you wanted, I bought them for you.